What's going on, everybody? John here from IncomeMesh.com. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to begin a series of videos where we pit Kartra against Thrive, two juggernauts in the digital marketing space, Kartra being the all-in-one business platform, and Thrive from Thrive Themes being kind of the all-in-one marketing solution for WordPress users. And in today's video, we're going to start it off with the most important one, arguably, which is the page builder and the page building experience between the two. Are you considering between WordPress and Kartra, between Thrive Themes and Kartra? Today's video is just for you. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so just first off, unlike a lot of the videos you might find on YouTube about Kartra or about Thrive Themes, I'm an actual user of both platforms. I am currently working with a small business. She's actually my mom. It's very sweet, I know. But she's been in the dinosaur age for a long time, and I'm bringing her into the digital marketing space by getting her entire business online with Kartra. I also run my own blog, my own website, and a membership and course community at IncomeMesh.com. Go ahead and check it out and join up if you want to. So I have good experience with both of these platforms. So in today's video, we're going to do a deep dive about the page builder experience between both of them, and we're going to cover the good and the bad and the ugly of each one. And what we're going to do specifically is we're going to review the pre-built templates for the pages, because obviously if we are short on time, we want to be able to hop in, get a great template immediately, and get to work. We're also going to cover the learning curve, because if you're just signing up for one of these, if it's too difficult in the first couple of days, you're not going to continue with the platform. We'll then cover the speed to build, and that's with all the different elements in there and just how the general workflow is with each of these platforms. I'm going to do a special section on images and icons, because that's a very visual part of the entire experience, obviously, and is very crucial for your conversions, and there's some interesting things between these two. We'll also cover a section that I guarantee no other YouTuber is going to cover, because it's kind of in the weeds, but it's really important to know as you get more advanced in it, and that's all about content boxes. Probably don't even know what that is, but you'll find out. We'll also talk about bugs. And yes, both of these tools have bugs. Not a ton, but enough that you'll really want to pay attention if you're considering signing up. And finally, with all the dogfights I do, I want to talk about who each platform is for. I firmly believe that every tool out there is good for the right person, and I'll cover who I think those people are in this video. Okay, let's go ahead and cover the pre-built templates. And the way we'll do this is we'll first cover the Kartra side of things, and we'll come back around for the Thrive side of things. So let's go ahead and get right into the Kartra page builder templates. All right, so here we are in our Kartra account, and on the pages section, you have our list here. You can see I'm kind of building out a nice little small business website here for Kennel, for my lovely mom. There she is, and she's so sweet. Anywho, so what we're going to do, sorry, waxing family love here, is we're going to build a new page in this account, and you have this amazing list of options for your templates. And here you've got squeeze pages, you've got sales pages. I don't know the exact quantity, but as you're going through just for thank you pages, they've got a whole bunch. I'm not going to count them. They've been recently adding some new things. This actually I found out recently. So if you come down here, they've also added in legal pages. So let's go ahead and take a look at the legal page. So it looks like it's terms and conditions. They don't actually put the text in there for you. It's lorem ipsum text, but there are free generators for your pages there. They've also, this is an empty category, so they're looking at blog posts. Okay, Kartra, what you working on there? Kartra has openly said they're not trying to compete with WordPress and become a blogging platform, but in the Facebook community, that is one of the most commonly requested section is, can I write a blog post on Kartra? If all you want to do is write 5, 10, maybe 20 blog posts on your website, maybe going to WordPress and Kartra is not the solution. You could honestly do it here. More to be seen on that one. What I do love about this is they have templates for pretty much anything you'd imagine, even product reviews. So if you want to have a kind of a special page you drive traffic to, you can go into the best DSLR cameras and all sorts of great stuff there. Really, really well fleshed out list of pages. Also upsell pages, and these are specially designed for once they've made a purchase, you can go ahead and try to get more revenue out of your customer. And I'm bringing these specific sections up because they're kind of missing in Kartra, or in Thrive Themes' lineup there. So let's go ahead and flip on over to Thrive Themes and show you what they have to offer as well. Okay, so now we're over in Thrive Architect, their visual builder, and we've pulled up a new blog page, or new web page, and we've gone into the template library. And what's interesting about Thrive Architect is they've done things a little bit differently, where instead of listing them by the category of purpose, being like, the thank you page, the upsell page, the membership registration page, they link it kind of by general feels. So for example, fit brand is like an entire set of websites or entire funnel that are all kind of working well together. This is very smart because what you can run into is you can pick the greatest thank you page in the world, but then you might be stuck for 20 minutes trying to find the squeeze page or the landing page that looks similar in branding. So with Kartra, if I go and I find a nice squeeze page here, now the burden's on me to figure out what the best thank you page is to match that. Obviously, this one and this one, they don't work too well together. This is red and yellow, and this thank you page has no red on it anywhere. So you're going to do a little bit more hunting and pecking and finding to get everything that looks exactly right. Bouncing back over here to Thrive Architect, one thing I will say is that you don't necessarily know which one is going to be the right one for you. You kind of do look through a lot of these. I can tell that Thrive has spent more time on certain styles and less on others. For example, they've got their atomic here, which this is not bad. Like, this is a very good landing page. You've got very simple headline and opt-in page. Let's just go ahead and load one of these up just so you can see it. So we'll do the webinar streaming page, for example. So this is a nice looking landing page. It's very basic, but it looks quite good. If we go back into here, let me show you one that they've clearly spent a lot of time on. Here we've got the Copy 2.0. This is one of their more recent ones, which is kind of nice. And you'll load this guy up as well, and we can take a look. And one thing I do like about Thrive and Kartra both together is that they actually give you example sales copy in the pages themselves. And Thrive, I think, does a slightly better job of this, honestly, because this entire section is telling you, this subheading has one job: make your visitor want to keep reading. So as you're going through, this is a very well built out. They've got texters in the background. Just good job by Thrive. This is a wonderful, wonderful sales page. And we'll get more into the details of the pages in a second. Last thing I want to say on the Thrive Architect landing page templates is you also have this tag up here. So not only are they organized by kind of branding, this is all this yellow mustardy color, but you can also filter down by tags and say, show me only the 1-step or 2-step. So these are different opt-in styles. And now you can see you have only the lead magnet pages for each one of these brands. So if you found the brand you like, but now you need to go ahead and find the right type of form, then you can go knock this out this way. We can also search for them and say we want to have a home page. So type in home, you've got home pages. This is something that Thrive does and Kartra does not, because Kartra is not really meant to be a full-blown content management system. You've got nice home pages here in Thrive Architect. So one that I like a little bit, I actually watched Shane Malach, who's the guy behind Thrive Themes. I saw him build this page live on his channel. He did a great job there. And this is kind of a template for a hero section for a personal branding website, and kind of shows you everything how it works there. So if we're just considering the full-blown page template libraries, I have to give the edge to Thrive Themes, because they don't only give you the ability to search for your template by the purpose, squeeze page, thank you page, etc. They also group them for you in categories kind of around a brand, and that's very, very smart. But there's one other trick that Kartra has up its sleeve, and let me show you that right now. So once we've loaded this template, let's say we want to add another section. If we go into Thrive, we're going to have to add individual little elements and build out our sections by ourselves. Not too much to ask for. They do have sections like calls to action, which are very kind of well made. So this one little section here is kind of like a full-blown section. It's a headline, some text, some nice little arrows, and a button. But Kartra ups it a little bit, so let's show you that in a second. Okay, so let's say we want to sell this product here. We want to use this template, so we'll select it and launch the builder here. Okay, so I've loaded up the page here in Kartra, and again, another beautiful looking page. Like, each one of these looks extremely professional, but now where Kartra has a little trick up its sleeve is you don't have to only add the components. Like with Thrive, you have to add the button in and add the text in and all the different things. With Kartra, they have this entire other section. I'm going to call this a template library because it's section templates. So I can actually add, let's say we want to find some more content. We want to have a section here that really maybe shows an image of the tool with a computer and another little headline. You can do that. You can just scroll through here, and all these are pre-built sections, more so than just an individual component of the page. And let's say let's find one that I want to use. This guy here. Let's say you want to add this in. It's as easy as drag and drop. And because they're all kind of built in a similar style, most of these will look good just by dragging it right in. And then from there, all you have to do is edit this, and you're good to go. You have a new section there built in with a nice little image in, and you're good there. So for the first category of comparison, the template library, I was going to say that Thrive had it a little bit. They were up on in the beginning of the race by having a better organization of their templates. But then I have to give it to Kartra because I find myself when I'm building pages in Thrive, I'll get a good head start by getting a nice template in, but then it's not exactly what I need all the time. So I'm building out other sections as I go. And that process is just a lot easier in Kartra because you can drag the section in, you can kind of think about what you want, and they have it nicely organized by, feature set. Let me show you that real quick. They have it nicely organized by navigation menus. You can just find the navigation menu that works for you. You could find a hero section that shows, a lot of these, you can just like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Drag that guy in, make a small tweak, change the girl on the front, and boom, you're good to go. So I do like how Kartra, sorry, I'm working through a cold here, I don't know if you can tell, how Kartra organizes their section library there. So Kartra wins the first category. All right, so the next category is the learning curve, and learning curve is crucial because with all these software as a service, whether it's a WordPress plugin or this entire platform here with Kartra, if you don't feel good using it, if it's kind of frustrating you as you're going through the process, you're not going to re-up, and it's not good for the company. It's not good for you because you're wasting your time trying something and not following through with it. So having a good, easy learning curve is crucial in my opinion. So let's go ahead and compare these two together right now. So continuing here with Kartra on our page we've already built together, they have a pretty good learning curve. I want to say it's a little bit easier than Thrive, even though it's a bit more limited. So when you first open up the page builder for the first time, they walk you through a pretty good tutorial that shows you what every section does, shows you how to adjust responsiveness to tablet and mobile. It shows you kind of the difference between component mode and column mode, where essentially if I hover over something and I'm in component mode, it's going to edit the component, right? But if I wanted to instead maybe change the width of these two columns, because this is a 2-column layout, I would go over to column mode. And now if I hover over it, oh, look at that. I can see the pink purple columns and the blue row, I guess I would call that. So now if I want to do edit style, I can see the padding here, I can align it from top to bottom, and I can adjust even background images within that column there. They also have a nice little guide here where if you don't know exactly how they got this layout to look like this, for example, there's a lot going on here. You've got several different columns, several different rows. If you want to see how they actually did that, just click the show columns and you can see, oh, okay, this is very logical. This makes sense. And then you kind of know how you want to edit it. You also get a good indicator on how this is going to look on each device because you can see how this content is stacked on top of each other. So for example, when I go from desktop to tablet, it shows you the order that it's going to stack it because that's how it was ordered in the desktop version. Hope that makes sense. I think the benefit with Kartra is kind of being that 80-20 principle where they give you 80% of the stuff that you need while only giving you probably 20% of the complexity they need to give to you. So a good example of that is by adding all these sections, you don't need to be an expert at organizing your column width. That can be one of those frustrating things that I'll show you in Thrive that can really kind of make you want to throw something against the wall. But here, for example, like this is a pretty complex section here. This our features, you can see they've got a certain width here for our features, a certain width here, different padding on each element. There's a lot going on here, but because Kartra provides that drag and drop section capabilities, it takes a lot of that frustration away. It still gives you the ability, let's say I want to have some additional padding on the top here of both of these guys. I can go into the edit style here and I can say on margin, I want to maybe add 50 pixels on margin, apply it, and you can see it, boop, it moved everything down there. Now let's say I want to get crazy, and now I want this section to go further down. I can actually edit the column, make sure I use the right terms, edit the column here and add top padding there. Let's do 100 pixels there, and this should shoot it down further. So you can see things are logical, things make sense in how the editing works here, but they've kind of masked some of the complexity by doing most of it for you and giving you decent enough designs that you don't need to kind of get to be an expert in it. Also with Learning Curve, I think that this is a pretty logical way of showing things, where Thrive, you'll see their menu is a little bit overwhelming with all the things they have going on here. Kartra does a good job of kind of nesting things together. So if I want to find some components, let's say I want to find a good headline. and click into headlines, and then you've got another list of templates even within the component section. So if I want to find a headline, I don't need to go to a full-blown section and then get all this. I can just go and find the right headline for myself. So let's say I want to start with a blank empty section. Pull this guy in here, and then but I want to save some time still, so I'm going to go to components. I want to find a good headline for this section, and maybe I decide that this is the one for me. I can drag, so before you can add a headline, you do need to add a column. So let's say I want this to be a 66% column in here, and then I can drag and drop a component. So now I can go to my headline and find a headline that I like and drag this guy in here. And you can start to build out your own section just by putting things together. So for mock-up compositions, you can get a good little list of what you want to use. And I like this guy. This gets a little intimidating. I'm just going to pause here and take a look at all the different places you can toss this guy. So you really need to be thoughtful when you're putting it through. So for example, if you pay attention here, I've got some purple dotted lines here where I put 2 columns with varying widths. This is a 66%, I think, and this is a 50% probably. And there's 2 lines very close. But if I put it here, it's going to be narrower than if I put it there. Let's go and test that. Put it here. You see it fits within that nice little column, but I can also drag this component up a little bit, and now it's bigger because I've given it more space on the screen. So then I decide, okay, I want this to kind of move down a little bit, so I can edit the mode and give it some top padding. Let's give it 150 pixels of padding, and now it's moved down a good bit. So you can easily work through it. I like the learning curve. There are some limitations to it that I'll talk about in just a second. Now let's talk about the learning curve of Thrive Architect. And Thrive Architect is amazing because it is extremely powerful. The double-edged side of that sword is that it's not the easiest for beginners. Let me show you a couple of reasons why that is. So when I click on this little paragraph here, you would imagine this is my paragraph. But in reality, what Thrive does, which is smart, but I think they can probably refine how it works, is this paragraph section, you can see up here we got a little navigation breadcrumb trail, is part of a column. This is the column. And this column is a part of these 2 columns here. And these 2 columns are a part of this background section here. And then the background section is part of the entire page. So what you have here is a nesting of content where everything belongs somewhere, right? Like we all belong somewhere, which is nice. The challenge with it is you can get into this hunting for where you set something. Because, let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say we want to add another 2 column section down here. So let's split, let's go find some columns and drag it beneath the paragraph. And let's put little thirds, and let's just put some icons there real quick. I'll come back in 1 second. Okay, so I just put in a few different icons in a 3 column section. Let me show you some of the craziness you can get into. So this icon is part of a column right there. That column is part of those columns. Those columns are part of this column. This column is part of, you see how nuts that can get? Let me show you how kind of frustrating it can be. Let's say somewhere you decide, let's say this section up here, you want to add some padding. You can go to layout and position. Let's say we want to add some padding here. And I've adjusted the padding by giving additional space between there and there. The challenge is I can also be on the icon and add, let's say I make a mistake and add this one. Let's say I want to take the link off and move this one guy down. Now, when I'm looking for where that happened, I literally have to check every different spot because it could be here that was moved down. I don't know if I'm communicating clearly, but this is a frustration for me. Also, you might align it someplace here, but then you can go to the column area and the column can be aligned centered or right side. So you can get in this position of kind of having your settings conflict against each other. Now, it's all because you can do whatever the heck you want with Thrive. It is incredibly powerful. I use it on my own website, but there are moments where I'm looking at something. Let's say it's a page I designed a month ago, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get this thing to look how I want it to look. And it's because it can get in this position where things get kind of stacked and settings can kind of conflict a little bit. It's a little bit of a frustration. I don't know if you can tell. But When it comes to learning curve, it can be a frustration because there's all these different settings. You know, you've got, it doesn't seem too bad now, but when you expand each one of these, there are a ton of different things that you can do with each one of these icons. And you add in a new module, let's say an image, and images have, let's put something in real quick. So I move this image in, and you know, this is actually a really good example. So I pushed this image in, and what happened was it actually pushed the other image completely off the page, which I'm actually a little bit surprised about that it would do that. So now I need to go and drag the image size down a little bit, which is moving everything around. You would think that it would fit the size that I gave it, but it actually forced everything over here. So there are some things that I wish Thrive would maybe make a little bit more intuitive. I love them to death. You know, for example, I can just drag this around and kind of give space or take space. But even just in doing that, now if I wanted to get this all to look right again, it might be a little bit of a struggle. So that's a couple of real world examples where the usability on Thrive themes is intimidating for beginners. As you get more fluid with it and more fluent, you know, it makes more sense. It becomes easier to use, but I don't think it'll ever be the most intuitive page builder on the market. Okay, moving on. Now let's get into the speed to build section of the comparison. And speed to build assumes you've kind of gotten past that little bit of the learning curve. Obviously, we just gave Kartra a nod on the ease of use to kind of like first-time users. But now when we get into actually you're competent, you're building out for a new client, let's say, how do these two compare? Let's go ahead and take a look. With Kartra, their page builder is not quite as fast as Thrive Architect. You know, things, for example, if I wanted to make an edit here and I want to edit the icon, you kind of have to play this game with it where you're clicking around to try to get the right thing. I want to edit this guy, so I got it finally. And I can edit and I can make some changes. And once you're in the settings area, you have to hit apply a lot, but it works really well. You can circle it, and you can see now I have a circle. I can change the icon color. And what's nice is as you're working through it, there's not a lot of lag once you're working on a section and you're clicking it and applying it. It does reflect really quickly, really nicely. The challenges, though, for me is just that frustration of getting exactly what it is that I want to edit. So if I wanted to edit the benefit statement, that was actually pretty easy. It's one of those things where it doesn't happen all the time, but if you start getting really complex designs, things can kind of be a little bit challenging. The other side of it is, if I want to take this multiple demo section, let's say I want to have 2 more of these featured areas, you need to kind of just hover randomly and get to the right level of detail that you want. So like, this is good. Oh, but I clicked. So this is what I want. Now I want to get over there and clone it and clone it. And now get it again. This is real. So I'm trying to get this guy, and I'm not going to edit this out. I'm trying to get this to drag down to the bottom of the list. There we go. Boom. Okay, so I got it. So you can have these moments where you're trying to get things just right. And let's say I want to take this fully responsive down to the bottom, clone it, and then come back, drag it. It's not terrible, but it's one of those where you have to have like the right touch and also probably a pretty good computer. I'm working on a nice desktop right now. It has good power. If you have a lower powered computer, it might be a bit of a challenge there. So, and then if I wanted to move this guy over to the right side, that's not going to be quite as easy. There are some features that are nicer with Thrive, where you can actually just flip-flop these in one click. So speed to build is good. As I'm working through, I can quickly see my responsiveness. I can go here and preview what I'm building. Let's open the preview. Kind of clicking around haphazardly, but you get an idea of how this would look. So it's not a bad build process. I really enjoy it. Also, when it comes to speed to build with Kartra, one thing that I have to mention is you can take sections. Let's say you customize this section fully. I can go here to this little red gear and hit the star. And now this section, this entire section has been saved, and I can easily with one click pull it into any other page in any other location that I'd like. So now that it's saved, I can go back into my sections, and at the top here, I'm going to have my favorite blocks. And here you go. It's right here at the top. And you can see as I was building out my mom's website, I did save a couple here. For example, I built out this timeline Let me drag this guy in just to show you. And it shows the daily schedule of the business. And it's kind of nice. So from 6 to 8, 8 to 10. And this is something that I'm going to use in another location. And I thought it was nice to save it right then and there. Another thing to mention on Kartra's speed to use is how I got all these images into my website. And that's a huge time saver in their image editor we'll talk about in the next section. But first, let's go ahead and talk about Thrive's ease of use and speed to build. Okay, so here we're back on Thrive Architect, and I have to give it to Thrive. I think that they win overall in the speed to build once you've built up confidence in the entire tool. And one of the big reasons for that is their ability to save symbols. Let me show you what a symbol is real quick. So if I like this section, and let's say this is something that I want to keep updated and have this in different locations on my website, maybe on my homepage and on the bottom of my blog post or something like that, I could go over here and save this entire section, and I can save it as a symbol. And what that does is it will keep whatever the current design is of the symbol synced around the entire website. So any place that's displayed, it's going to show what the symbol is saved as. So we'll call this symbol 1. Save it. So now it's turned into this little salmon color, this little pink color. And if I ever wanted to update it, let's say I don't do podcasting anymore, I do a YouTube channel, I can edit as a symbol, and I can go in here and say subscribe to my channel now, and then I can go into the icon and adjust this from being a podcast to being YouTube. Select that guy, and boom. I would also probably need to adjust the size here. Looks about right. So now that I've made these edits, I can just say done. And now anywhere that this section is put on my website, it could be hundreds or thousands of places, it will automatically show that update there, which is a huge time saver. Another speed benefit of using Thrive is they've recently released their global colors. Let me show you what that is real quick. So if this headline, I pulled this call to action in, but if this is not quite to my styling, I can highlight over it, go to my text colors, and I have actually created some global colors here. You can tell they're global. You can maybe see there, it has like a little hash mark in the bottom right corner of the area. And so if I click on it, this is actually my Tango, one of my theme colors. And I can edit the color in that one location, and it'll edit every instance of that color on my website. So if I just put this as my primary color, apply it, now it's that orange. And if I ever wanted to change, well, let me show you here. Let's go ahead and do this. So let's take these, edit this symbol, and I'm going to take this guy here and change the icon color to, let's create a new color here. Let's say this is going to be a global color. You can add that color that I'm using and make that a global one. And call this, edit the label to be test global. And now let's do the same thing here, where this is now actually going to be my global color, and change this to be my global color. So I've changed these colors once. You have to go through the work once, and let's do the same thing here, just to give you an example. So now these are all global colors, but what if my client that I'm building this website for decides that he wants his color not to be this little minty color, but instead to be a purple, let's just say. So I can go here to my global color and say edit the color, and now I want to go and find a purple, and bada bing bada boom. So now every place, not just on this web page, but any place where I'm using that minty color as a global color, it will update to the new area. And you can see here, let's say save, apply. These guys, I didn't get around to changing, so we're good to go. That stays the color it is. So this is a huge benefit if you have client work, and clients can sometimes be a little picky around the colors, and that's a nice speed benefit there. They also do the same thing for gradients and other areas. So at the end of the day, there are some benefits with speed to use with Kartra. There are some benefits for speed to use with Thrive. I'll kind of give it a wash. Personally, I think Thrive is the faster overall builder. It's just snappy. I actually write my blog posts in Thrive Architect because it's just nice, quick, and easy, and you can easily add in some styled items that way. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the imagery and icons of both of these platforms, and let me show you something in Kartra that's really going to make you happy. So let's say we have this little test page here. I want to add in an image. Let's go to images, drag this guy wherever it wants to be. Let's go ahead and put it right here. Nice big image. And now if I want to go and edit, I go to my component mode, hover over, edit the style, no images selected. Here, This is something that Thrive does not currently compete with. They don't try to. You can search for royalty-free images. These are images that you can use on business items. They're free for use. You're not going to get sued or anything by using these items. And let's say we want to look for a computer. Boom, type it in. And sometimes this works really well. Sometimes it's a little bit slow. But I've typed in computer, and I've got really good-looking stock photos that I can use for my project for computers. So I'll find, I like this one. I'm not a Mac guy, but they are beautiful machines. And I'll confirm, apply, and I've got this image. You can also adjust the style of it by giving it a border. So let's say I want to give it a 5-pixel border, 5-pixel dashed border, and I can change the color here. So just a couple little things you can do to make it kind of nice. You can also, let's go ahead and duplicate this. And on this image, let's change it from being an image to being an icon. And now it's still searching for computer. So now I've got this list of pretty good looking icons of computers I can also use for my projects. One thing I'll note here is these are not SVGs, which are scalable vector graphics. Working through a cold here. So what that means is if you pull this image in, it can get a little pixelated if it's on if it tried to get zoomed hugely in, but it's really not that big of a deal. To be able to have the colorful graphics as well is a huge benefit. But boom, that's my example perfectly. That's too big of a spot for that little icon. So let's do a couple things here. Let's hover over and let's hover on this little size icon here. Get out of my area. Size. I mean, this is really meant to be about that size. So let's say we're good here. Let's move this guy in a place that makes more sense for it to be. Let's do some editing. I hate that border that I just put on there, so let's put that back down to 0. Now we're good. Let's align it to the center. Now we're good. And I want to give it some more top padding. So we'll give it, let's say 50 pixels of top padding, and we're good. So that's a nice little feature. Let's go ahead and just show you a couple other icons that I really like here. So if I want to look for a graph, everybody loves a good graph. I mean, these are nice looking icons. I could see using any of these in a sales page. It looks really good. One challenge with this is, let's say this color scheme isn't quite your color scheme. Let's say one of those yellows kind of clashes with your yellow. Because this is just a picture, you can't adjust the colors themselves. So when I show you Thrive, you'll see some of the benefits of how they've implemented. But overall, kind of a beautiful, beautiful implementation. Let's get sad. So our monies are going down. Not good. Confirm. Boom. Oh, and apply. Always remember to apply. I forget to do that all the time. I wonder why it's broken. So not bad. But again, if you scale this up, not meant to go bigger. I'll show you how Thrive does that a little bit better. Okay, so first off, here we are in Thrive, and just to start off, they don't have a built-in photo editor or built-in photo discovery platform. You have to find them. There are WordPress plugins where you can go and search Unsplash and things like that and add them into your library, but they don't work nicely with Thrive Architect natively. What they do have, though, is a pretty awesome icon library, where if I go into icons here and I can search for a graph, and I don't get anything. I hit search for chart, I get this one chart. That's a little sad. I have actually noticed this has been a little buggy recently, where sometimes I would get more than others. So here, it looks like I lost some of my icons. What the heck is going on here? What's supposed to happen is you have the ability to import in Font Awesome. Let me show you what that is. Font Awesome icons. And they have this huge library. A lot of them are free, so you can pay for some as well. And you can get all these icons in, and they should import into your library here. For whatever reason, it decided to stop working for me. Thanks a lot. So let me see. Okay, look at this. So, oh, I guess stats. You can hover over it and see what the title is. Like, would you think of this as being stats? I wouldn't, like, if I search for stats, now I've got these. To me, that's a chart. I don't know. Call me crazy. But I can pull it in, and then with icon size, the difference here is that because it's a scalable vector graphic, it can get as big as you want. Let's pull this guy right here. This can get as big as you possibly want, and it'll still look good. I guess it's maxed out here somewhere. There's, again, some other sections that are conflicting here. But you can change the color you want to all over the place. I can make it gray. None of those restrictions are there, but they're also just very simple drawings, whereas you get these nice little icons that are multicolored, and it looks like a good featured image here in Kartra. So when it comes to image management, I give the benefit to Kartra because it has that built-in photo finder, and the images can be a bit more beautiful by nature. I went ahead and bought an icon pack for my featured images on my blog. You can check it at incomesh.com, see how I do my featured images there. And, you know, it ran me a few bucks, but now I have icons in Thrive that will compete with the icons in Kartra. So not too big of a deal. Okay, a short section here. Let's talk about content boxes. This is one of those features that I'll start off in Thrive because that's where they live, that I really, really like. Let's go ahead and get down here. Let's get out of our symbol real quick. And one of the elements that I really like in Thrive is this idea of a content box. And it's such a simple concept, but it can be so powerful if you really play with it. So what this does is, this is one of those sources of confusion and frustration, but once you master it, it can make your website so awesome. So a content box is basically just a place for you to put stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here, center it in the middle of the screen. And now this is a blank canvas for me to put stuff into and format it. So within a content box, I can put another box. It's going to sound a little silly, but you'll see what I do as I make it through. So what this allows you to do is build anything you want to build. If you want to build a testimonial box, a guarantee box, it's all going to be built out of a combination of boxes. Let me show you one that I've pre-built. Let me go to my templates symbols and go into my templates here. So as an example, I built out for some of my review posts a pro and con checkout, or pros and cons list area. And this is made out of a series of content boxes. So if I click on one of these items here, you'll see this item is within a list, and then that list is within a content box, and that box is here, and that box is within another box, which is the combination of them. And so you're able to really have some flexibility and build this all out yourself, kind of in a custom made way. What you'll also notice is this pros area is its own box on top of this box. It's like Russian nesting dolls. It's kind of weird, but you've got a lot of flexibility here with the content box icon area, and I do like that. In Kartra, you don't have anything with quite that much flexibility, and that's probably intentional. Like Thrive, they want you to be able to do whatever the heck you want to do, and you have to deal with the frustration if it doesn't work exactly right. Here, if you wanted to do something similar, it would probably be like a box here. And so let's play with this real quick. So let's drag a box in. Okay, I've got this box, and I could change the color like I did on the other one. So let's change this color to like a little red here. And now let's see if I can put a box inside the box. Let's go back to boxes. Sounds crazy saying boxes all this. And would you look at that? Oh my gosh, I might actually have to be changing my perspective on this. I thought this was a very unique Thrive aspect. So I put a box inside there, and now let's go back into components and put another box. Let's just go box crazy. And you got the different layouts here, which those are good layouts. Okay, so I've got a very complex set of boxes here. And what I want to do now is let me just put some icons into it. I'll put a very small icon. If I do giant. Okay, giant's still pretty small. And we will change this from being this to university. I like that. Change you, and then duplicate. Look at this. You can actually do some very intricate designs here. I'm going quickly here, but just to give you an idea, you can do complex designs in Kartra really, really well. What I want to do now is, let me take a look at this. This looks really good, but I want to make sure that this box can be centered. So let me go here, and I want to vertically align it in the center. Wow. Now if I remove the columns, I know this might not look like a lot, but imagine what we just did. We made a one full size with a background color, and then a half size here, and then a thirds within that, and we're able to change the background color and everything within that. Okay, I've changed my opinion. Kartra can be just as customizable as Thrive. This is really cool to see. I'm impressed. Good job, Kartra. Let me go ahead and save this so I don't lose it. All right, let's talk about the not so cool parts of both of these builders, the bugs aspect. And both of them have bugs. I'll just say it. In Kartra, one of the challenges I have, I don't know if you can notice, but I'm actually using this in a Chrome incognito window. And the reason for that is if I try to run this on my regular Chrome browser, something doesn't work right. Like when I try to drag things around, sometimes they don't get placed correctly. And if I go to a different browser altogether, maybe the photo editor won't work correctly. I have tested it and it might just be my machine. It might be that I do run a lot of Chrome extensions to kind of help me do my job. So if you look here, I've got some good a lot of Chrome extensions on here, and I need to get into an incognito window for this really to work well. Now, is that a bug on Kartra? Is it something that I'm doing wrong? You know, jury's out there, but that is something just to be aware of. On Thrive's side, I have had it happen where I'll hit save and it'll just try to save and it'll never actually save. Again, that might be a conflict with my plugins where some of my optimization plugins are messing with it, or maybe it's my page cache or something. But as an end user, I really don't care. I want it to work right. And so there are some issues on both of these builders. I'm not going to fault one more than the other. Just realize when you go into this, nothing is perfect in life, and just kind of pick your tools and go with it. But I'm really impressed with this on Kartra here. Okay, so the wrap up. Who is each one of these tools for? And we're talking specifically the page builder. In a future video, we'll get into the email opt-in captures, the lead generation, the membership areas, all that stuff. But in this video, I would say that Thrive is if you are a hardcore WordPress user, you want to be deep into blogging and kind of building out content with your WordPress-based site, Kartra is probably not going to be the one for you. There's going to be some added complexities by trying to make Kartra and WordPress work well together. It can be done. I have a video that I'll put up here that shows you how to use Kartra and WordPress together nicely, but it's not going to be built in the right way. Who is Kartra for? I would say pretty much everybody else. Like if you're going to be trying to put on a client website for somebody where they're starting from scratch, like for example, my client right now, my mom, she does not have technology in her business. She doesn't really want technology in her business, but she wants the business to grow. So in that case, having some live chat support is going to be great for her. Having an email autoresponder linked in with her page builder is going to be great for her. And the page building experience is going to be easier for me because I can just kind of throw out some sections that are pre-built and say, hey, what do you think? And go from there. So I do think that Kartra serves a huge need in the marketplace. It does it at a pretty reasonable price if you think about everything you're getting with it. So there you go. I hope this was helpful. I kind of covered a lot in this video. If you've enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified when I do the next ones. I'll be launching more videos kind of like this, working through Kartra versus different platforms and going into depth. So if there's anything you want me to focus on, anything I missed in the video here, put that in the comments below, and I look forward to serving you in the next